So the first question is pretty broad. It's just, tell me about the history you know about her.
The West was built in 1920 by a shipwright. The legal name that's on the documents anyways, is William Tuger.
Okay.
Tuger. Yeah. I've planned to do like some research on that name, but I haven't as of yet.
Okay.
And
float plane.
Yeah. I know.
Oh no, helicopter. Ah, the sounds of Southeast Alaska.
Mm-hmm. So I've wanted to look into like his family background and kind of get an idea as to who he originally sold it to.
Okay.
And because between 1920 and 2010, 90 years, I have no idea what this boat was doing.
Yeah.
I do, however, I should say, actually for about maybe half of that, it was on the rocks off in the forest with a tree growing through it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And where was that at?
That was, I believe it was in Wrangell.
Okay.
And
yeah.
The story goes, Tyler Thompson is the shipwright who restored this.
Okay.
Fully restored it, was wanting to do a project boat.
Yeah.
And this has a particular type of, it's called a fantail, also known as a Norwegian stern.
Yeah.
This is also a Norwegian, come on, are you kidding me, guys? So he wanted to do this boat as a project to teach one of his apprentices how to do that.
Oh, cool.
And he had been wanting to do a boat for a long time.
Yeah.
But he was waiting, he was pulling off pieces from all these other boats that were, that they were scrapping.
Yeah.
And he would keep really good old stuff.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Thick lumber, the Doug fir. It's got all the turpentine and stuff in there. I know. It's like right as soon as you hit it. Meow. Yep.
All right. So it
was totally silent, was it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
For like a half hour. Okay.
Airspace is clear now.
I know. So he pulled all of this stuff off to the side. And when he saw this boat, he was like, that's the one that is telling me, restore me.
Oh, how
right?
Cool. Yeah,
restore
me.
And so he got the salvage rights to it. And as I said, it was up on land.
Yeah.
Off in the forest a little bit with a tree growing through it, and had been there for probably about half, maybe a little less of those 90 years. I told you there was a long period where I have no idea what happened, but
how cool.
It was stationary.
Yeah.
So he takes and x-rays it and everything, and come to find out he's very surprised that the steam bent oak ribs are perfect.
All right.
And they're quite beefy.
Yeah.
When this thing gets hit by the waves and stuff, it really, you can feel it. Boom.
Yeah.
And
not giving.
Yeah, it's very stout. And when old timers come on board, and a lot of them like to come on board, when they look at it, they're like, "Wow, look at the size of that," And I'll open up, cool. Right there. I'll open it up, and
sweet.
So they enjoy that. Tyler started putting it all together in I think 2005.
Okay.
And then he was done in 2010 was when the project was completed.
Yeah.
He lived on it with his girlfriend, I believe, until about 2012 or 2013.
Okay.
Or actually may have been living on it while he was still finishing it up.
Yeah.
It's very, just for one person down there and a dog.
It's tight, yeah.
It's a little tight.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine being down there with my significant other. So, that's what he did, and he sold it to Antonio Silva from Wrangell.
Okay.
I have always wanted to be a commercial fisherman.
Yeah.
Since I did a presentation in 6th grade, what career do you want?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
all school kids do.
Yeah.
And mine was a fisherman, and then another one that I included in the presentation was a logger.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
Very
Yeah.
Southeast
Yeah.
Alaska. Not a movie star.
Yeah.
Not a I want to go fishing
Yeah.
kind of guy. And so when I saw this on Craigslist, I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
All of my friends, all of the other fishermen said,
Yeah.
do not buy a wooden boat.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I said, why? I mean, that's so quintessential Southeast Alaska.
Right. Yeah.
Nothing against guys with aluminum and fiberglass, but this is like the frontier. These are the guys that were doing the early fishing at the last of the, 19th, 20th centuries there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I ignored their advice.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I did, because what a lot of people call maintenance, I call love.
Yes. Yeah.
Because, I like vintage things. I've restored a couple of Indian motorcycles.
Oh yeah.
One was from 1932 and another was from 1949.
Yeah.
And this boat is very much like fishing with a museum piece.
It is. Yeah.
And so that has its challenges and its benefits.
Yeah.
As you saw, the challenges is that autopilot is garbage.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about as accurate as something from 1911 would be.
Right. Yeah.
So there's a couple of things on here that are upgraded, and I plan on doing some more.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. That was great. I mean, that's exactly why we're doing this project.
Yeah, I hope I don't ramble too much.
That is a completely acceptable thing to do.
Okay.
Yeah. Rambling is what we want. Okay, so I guess you answered when she was built.
Mm-hmm.
You answered who built her.
Mm-hmm.
We know that she does the job that she was built for.
Mm-hmm.
And you would have answered has she been converted? Has she done other work? That's all in the history that you told us. You also answered how you became the captain and owner. And then maybe dive into a little bit more about what makes her unique. I mean, you've told us some points, but if you can think of other things that you feel are unique about her, that would be the next.
Well, primarily it would be the age. I know that here in Ketchikan, there's maybe 5 or 6 boats that are older. Yeah. But they're not in this kind of shape.
Right.
I like to brag a little bit because Antonio warned me about this when I bought it. When he listed it, he and I had this conversation. He said, I wanted the same thing like what Tyler, he's like, with the new owner, it has to be the right owner. I don't want to just give it to some schmuck that's going to destroy it. Yeah. He said, I wanted somebody that loved the boat and would take care of it. Because if you take care of it, it'll last a lifetime. Yeah. And it already has. Yeah. So the age is probably what makes it very unique, but also the fact that it's so narrow. It has a very narrow beam, and anybody that steps on board notices. Many people go, whoa, 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 like they almost panic. Yeah. Because it tilts. Yeah. And I believe they built them like that. It's very seaworthy. It's very tilty. But Tyler actually told me, I talked to him a couple of times, it's when he rebuilt it, he put a extra heavy duty keel. He said if that boat were to ever flip over, even with the poles on it, he goes, it'll right itself. So they built them like that. And I've had people on here before when I've been steering it, they're like, wow, this thing turns on a dime. Yeah. Which is also extra special when you consider it's a chain drive.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, this is not hydraulics. It's got, you can see how that sprocket is an old-timey sprocket. Yeah. And it goes all the way back to the prop. It's got a worm drive on the rudder and stuff. Yeah. So it being chain drive out in the Gulf and the slop, a lot of people look at me and like, that's insane, dude. Why don't you? You need to put hydraulics. I'm like, nah. Yeah. We'll just do chain. I'm good. Yeah. So yeah, it's a narrow boat. That fantail stern. A lot of people comment on, and then there's just a mystique. As I said, it talked to Tyler. Yeah. it talked to me,
Yeah.
and there's just, it talks to just about anybody that sees the boat.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will tell you, every time, this is no exaggeration, every time I have docked in Juneau, somebody has come walking down the gangplank and offered me cash for this boat.
Oh, how cool. Yeah.
Because they're like, that is the most beautiful vintage boat I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So, now of course that's, I think I've only docked in Juneau like 7 or 8 times, but
yeah.
that's, I'm
Yeah.
not ready to consider any offers yet, and
Yeah.
I think I'd like to keep this in the family for a while.
Yeah.
My daughter has, her name's Abby,
Okay.
and she is very hypnotized by the idea of, the remote fisherman with a cabin
Yeah.
and his boat,
Yeah.
and that's what he does for his income and
Yeah.
lives like a hermit.
Yeah.
That's the lifestyle she wants.
Yeah.
Well, you can have that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not an easy lifestyle,
Right. Yeah.
but it's possible with a boat like this.
Yeah.
And commercial fishing.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. Well, so I guess the next question is: has anyone shared stories about her past with you?
yeah, just
Tyler.
Antonio
Yeah.
telling me about, I always found when he first told me, he said, yeah, that boat, had a tree growing through it. He goes, a big tree, like straight up through the middle.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's weird. He
Yeah.
goes, yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Earth was trying to claim her back. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was that's probably the most interesting story about it.
Yeah. Now, you talked about looking towards fishing when you were a 6th grader, and then
it was earlier than that.
yeah. Okay. So
My dad used to come home. He worked at the pulp mill.
okay.
And
Yeah.
my dad, when I was a toddler, he would come home because he worked a grave shift. And my mom would be sleeping in. She slept pretty heavy. He would come up to the house and the door would be open. Denise, where's John John? They called me John John when I was a kid. And I still kind of go by that on social media.
Yeah.
A.K.A.
Yeah.
John John.
Yeah.
And she would go, he's in his crib. No, he's not. They would go, he's down at the docks again. Because I would get up in the middle of the night and just get out of my crib and go down and walk and stare at the boats.
Check out the boats.
Now
Yeah.
you think about that now as an adult, and you go, as a parent, you're going, oh.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
because it wouldn't have took anything for a little toddler to go bloop,
Yeah.
and you're done.
To be lost. Yeah.
But they couldn't ever keep me away from the docks.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So from that perspective of when you were looking towards fishing
Mhm.
and what it's like now, can you speak to any of those changes in your
Well,
lifetime?
I gotta say that all of the fishermen I think are well aware that in the last 5 years especially, there's been a pretty big negative impact. Thankfully, the state of Alaska has sustained yield as part of the Constitution,
Mm-hmm.
Because many other states, they just fished their salmon populations to extinction, and it's one of the reasons why they still come up here.
Right.
Yeah. But with that sustained yield requirement means that our numbers keep getting lower and lower and lower.
Mhm.
And that's one of the reasons why, as I always tell people, I'm a teacher that fishes, not a fisherman that teaches.
Mhm.
Now I am going to flip that script in a couple of years,
Mhm.
literally like 2, maybe 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's good because I'm still pretty much a rookie and I'm learning a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not good enough for this to be my sole income, trust me. I'm always talking to Charlie and trying to get some advice, and then Clark Slaniker,
Mhm,
he's
yeah.
been super helpful in
Yeah.
guiding me.
Yeah.
Scott Edgar of Real Alaska Fishing,
Okay. Yeah.
he has helped me out a lot as
Yeah.
well. And of course Antonio. Poor Antonio sold me the boat and I never leave him alone. Hey dude, where's the stuffing box in this thing? Man, I don't know. Get in there and look. Okay. Hey, what do I do with this chain? I don't know. So
Yeah.
Antonio and I have actually become quite good friends actually. So
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got lost in the question. See, that's what I'm saying with when I
No. I think
get
you
to
answered it. I
rambling.
mean, the question was, how has it changed in your lifetime?
The fishing.
Yeah.
There is a lot of data that says if our reliance on some of these products like plastic doesn't wane, by 2050, maybe earlier, by mass, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not a commercial plastic man.
Right.
I'm a commercial fisherman. And that really, I have issue with that.
Yeah.
Plastic is great. As a science teacher, plastic is hardy and almost indestructible. That's a great thing.
Yeah.
The bad thing about plastic is it's hardy and almost indestructible.
Right.
So it's a kind of that science double-edged sword that we
Right.
often get with those things.
Yeah.
I know they talked about a big salmon die-off last year up the Copper River area.
Oh, right. Yeah.
They said that the water temperature was like in the upper 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Well, salmonids, trout and salmon, if I were to do salmon in the classroom as a science teacher, I have to use a chiller.
Right.
Because they have to exist in cold water. So if they're swimming up a river that's almost 80 degrees,
mm-hmm.
it's going to kill them.
Yeah.
And it did.
Yeah.
That was an isolated event, but it did occur. So something's going on. I'm sure people will want to debate to what degree human is causing this.
Right.
But it is impacting fishing way more than the early days.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be, if you wanted to be a millionaire, you bought a boat and you went fishing because, man, it was just gangbusters, kings everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. The 70, 80-pound kings, they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
They're gone.
Mm-hmm.
All you have to do is look even at the Ketchikan King Derby. Why have they canceled it in the last few years? Because they're not around.
Right.
So, this isn't my opinion.
Yeah.
This is a consensus in Southeast Alaska based on the numbers just ain't there. Neats Bay, ghost town for the last 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.